My wife, secretly reunited with her ex-husband and my daughter, chose him over me. When they turned my own house into his hangout spot, I called the police. Now they're begging after he left them with nothing. Have you ever thought you'd walk into your own kitchen and realize you're basically the least important guy in your wife and daughter's life, behind her ex-husband who's sitting at your table like he pays the mortgage? Yeah, me neither. But there I was holding my promotion paperwork while all three of them looked at me like I just crashed their family reunion. Grab some popcorn because this gets wild. Let me give you the context before we get into it. I'm 39 years old, been working in logistics management for 15 years. Started as a warehouse associate making $12 an hour. Worked my way up. Floor supervisor, operations manager, district manager, candidate, the whole climb. Married Eloise 14 years ago. She's 38. We had Pearl a year later. She's 18 now. I was there when she was born. Changed her diapers. Taught her to walk. Read her bedtime stories. Did everything a father should do. Eloise worked retail when we met. Quit after Pearl was born. Said she wanted to focus on being a mom. I was fine with it. Worked extra hours. Picked up overtime. Made sure we had everything we needed. House in a decent neighborhood. 2 cars. Savings account. Normal middle-class life. Pearl grew up as daddy's girl, at least until recently. Around 6 months ago she started using my first name instead of dad. Thought it was a phase. Teenagers pulling away. Normal stuff. Didn't think much of it. Eloise changed too. More secretive. More distant. Spent a lot of time on her phone. I figured maybe she was going through something. Midlife crisis or whatever. Tried to be supportive. Give her space. Be patient. Turns out I was just being blind. I pulled into the driveway at 3:15 p.m. on a Tuesday. Early for me. Way early. But I had news. The kind of news that changes everything. District manager. The promotion I'd been grinding for over 2 years. 40% raise, company car, stock options, the whole package. My boss pulled me into his office that morning and laid it all out. Said I'd earned it. Said nobody worked harder or smarter than me. Said the job was mine if I wanted it. And of course I did. Drove home, planning how I'd tell my wife Eloise and our daughter Pearl. Maybe take them out to celebrate. Somewhere nice. The steakhouse Eloise always talked about but said was too expensive. Tonight, it wouldn't be too expensive. Tonight we could afford whatever we wanted. The house was quiet when I walked in. Eloise's car was in the driveway. Pearl's too. She was home from college for summer break. Both of them here. Perfect timing. I walked through the living room toward the kitchen. Heard voices, laughter. The kind of comfortable, familiar laughter you hear when people are enjoying themselves. Turned the corner and saw them all sitting at the kitchen table. Eloise, Pearl, and some guy I'd never seen before. He was older, maybe 50, graying at the temples, wearing a polo shirt that probably cost more than my entire outfit, sitting at my kitchen table like he owned the place, coffee mug in front of him, plate of cookies. Eloise only made for special occasions. All three of them looked up when I walked in. Nobody smiled. Eloise's expression went from relaxed to irritated in about half a second. Seriously, what are you doing home? Surprising you guys. Got news? Pearl rolled her eyes hard. 18 years old. My daughter. My blood. Great timing. We're actually busy right now. The guy at the table just stared at me. Didn't stand up. Didn't introduce himself. Just sat there sipping coffee like I was interrupting his meeting. Who's this? I asked. Eloise set down her cup. Almost like she was annoyed, I asked. This is Lance, my ex-husband. Lance, the ex-husband who left her 19 years ago. The guy who cheated on her and walked away. The deadbeat who Eloise spent the first year of our marriage calling every name in the book. That Lance. Didn't know he was coming over, I said. We've been talking again, Eloise said. Matter of fact. Like it was the most normal thing in the world. He's been helping us with things. Pearl leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. Lance is actually successful now. Built a real business. Makes actual money. Not like... She gestured vaguely at me. You know. The dig was obvious. Lance was successful. I wasn't. Even though I'd paid every single bill in this house for 14 years. Even though I'd raised Pearl since she was a baby. Even though I'd worked 60-hour weeks to give them everything they needed. Lance finally spoke. His voice was smooth, confident, condescending. You must be the husband. Eloise has told me a lot about you, all about the warehouse work and everything. I looked at Eloise. How long has this been going on? We're just talking, she said. Defensive now. Don't turn this into something it's not. Turning what into what? Finding your ex-husband, drinking coffee in our kitchen. Our kitchen? Pearl laughed. Sharp. Mean. You mean the kitchen you're never in because you're always at work. Lance actually shows up. He actually listens when Mom talks. He treats her like she matters. The words hit different than I expected. Not because they hurt, but because of how easily she said them. Like I was nothing. Like 14 years of raising her meant absolutely zero. I came home to tell you I got promoted, I said. Eloise barely reacted. Looked almost bored. Okay. That's nice, I guess. 14 years together, and my career milestone gets a that's nice, I guess. Lance stood up, taller than me by a few inches, smiled like he'd already won something. Congrats, man. Sounds like you worked hard for it. I'm actually in investments now. Commercial real estate development, 7 figures last year. But hey, every achievement matters, right? The condescension was suffocating. Pearl smiled at Lance, the kind of smile she used to give me when I do something that made her proud. I looked at her, really looked at her. This girl I taught to ride a bike, whose math homework I'd helped with for years, who I drove to soccer practice every weekend, who called me Dad until about 6 months ago when she suddenly switched to using my first name. Pearl, can we talk outside? No, I'm busy. She didn't even look at me when she said it. Eloise stood up, annoyed, like I was the problem. Look, this is awkward timing. Maybe you should go back to work or something. We're having an important conversation here about Lance's new development project. Important conversation. In my house. With your ex-husband. It's our house, Eloise said. Her voice had an edge now, sharp. And Lance is important to me. He deserves to be here. He's actually done something with his life. He abandoned you 19 years ago. He made mistakes. People grow. He's apologized. We've moved past it. Unlike some people who just stay stuck in the same boring patterns forever. Pearl nodded. At least Lance admits when he's wrong and actually tries to improve himself. Tries to be more than just some middle management guy. Lance put his hand on Pearl's shoulder, squeezed it like they were a team, like I was the outsider. Look, man, I get this is uncomfortable. But I'm back in their lives now. We're working through a lot. Building something. Maybe give us some space to figure this out. Give them space. In my house, at my kitchen table, while I stood there holding my briefcase with promotion paperwork inside that nobody cared about. Get out, I said. Lance raised his eyebrows. Excuse me, you heard me. Get out of my house. Eloise's face went red. You can't kick him out. I invited him. This is my house too, and I decide who comes here. Don't care. This is my house. My name on the deed. My mortgage payment every month. He leaves now. Pearl stood up fast. Her chair scraped against the floor. You're such a controlling jerk. You can't handle Mom being happy. You can't handle that Lance is actually successful and interesting and not some boring warehouse manager who thinks a promotion is a big deal. I'm not a warehouse manager. I'm district manager now. There's a difference. Who cares? She was yelling now. Full volume. Entitled rage. You're still just a guy with a job. Lance built an empire. He has real money. He has respect. He has status. All you have is a paycheck and a bad attitude. Eloise moved next to Pearl. United front. You need to calm down. This isn't about you. Everything isn't always about you. My wife spending time with her ex-husband in secret isn't about me. It wasn't secret. We just didn't tell you because we knew you'd react like this, jealous and controlling and insecure. Lance grabbed his jacket from the chair, smiled at me. Patronizing. I'll go. Don't want to cause problems. But Eloise, Pearl, we'll talk later. Finish what we started. He walked past me, stopped right next to me, close enough that I could smell his cologne. Expensive. She deserves better, man. Just so you know. Way better. Then he left. The front door closed. I stood in the kitchen with Eloise and Pearl staring at me like I just ruined Christmas. Happy now, Eloise said. You just embarrassed us in front of Lance. Made us look like we're living with some insecure child who can't handle his wife having friends. Friends, that's what we're calling it. What else would it be? I looked at her. 14 years of marriage. 14 years of building a life together. 14 years of me working extra shifts to pay for Pearl's braces and Eloise's car and the furniture she wanted, and the vacations she planned. 14 years of being the stable one, the reliable one, the boring one. I want him gone, I said. Permanently. He doesn't come back here. Ever. Pearl stepped forward. Chin up. Entitled. You don't get to decide that. Lance treats Mom better than you ever did. He's exciting. He's successful. He actually makes her feel special. You're just boring. Honestly, I wish he was my dad instead of you. There it was. The truth she'd been holding back, wishing her own father wasn't her father. I want you both gone, I said, voice steady, cold. You have 24 hours to leave, or I'll file for exclusive use of the house. You have no legal right to be here, not on the deed, not on the mortgage. Eloise's laugh was sharp, disbelieving. What? Both of you, pack your stuff and get out. 24 hours. You can't kick us out, Pearl said. Mom's your wife. This is her house too. You can't just throw us away. Her name's not on the deed. I bought this house 2 years before we got married. It's mine, legally mine, and I'm done sharing it with people who don't respect me. Eloise's face changed, the color drained. You're bluffing. Try me. 24 hours or I file paperwork tomorrow morning. She pulled out her phone, started typing fast, probably texting Lance, probably crying about how mean I was being, probably planning her next move. Pearl grabbed her phone too. Fine. We'll leave, but you're going to regret this. Lance will take care of us. He actually loves us. He actually cares. You just pretend. They both stormed upstairs. I heard doors slamming, drawers opening, the sounds of angry packing. I stood in the kitchen alone. The coffee Lance had been drinking was still warm. The cookies Eloise made were still on the plate. Everything looked normal, like a regular Tuesday afternoon, like my life hadn't just detonated. 20 minutes later, they came back down, each carrying 2 suitcases. Eloise's face was red from crying. Pearl looked furious. We're staying with Lance, Eloise announced. He said we can stay as long as we want. He has a 4-bedroom house in the nice part of town with a pool and a home theatre, not this dump. This dump. The house I'd worked myself half to death to afford. The house I'd maintained and improved and paid for entirely by myself. Car keys, I said. What? The car. I need it back. This is legal notice that you no longer have permission to use the vehicle registered and financed in my name. If it's not returned in 24 hours, I'll report it as unauthorized use. Eloise's hand went to her purse. The car's mine. Title's in my name. Insurance is in my name. The loan I'm still paying off is in my name. You have 24 hours. She threw the keys at me. The keyring hit my chest and fell to the floor. Pearl threw hers too. You're going to die alone. You know that, right? Miserable and alone because you're too controlling to let anyone be happy. Too boring to keep anyone interested. They walked out. Eloise slammed the door hard enough to rattle the windows. I stood there in silence, picked up the keys from the floor. He walked to the window and watched them load suitcases into Eloise's car, my car, the one I'd be recovering tomorrow. I sat down on the couch, pulled out my phone, started making calls. This wasn't over, not even close. Started with a family law office, got a consultation scheduled for the next morning. The paralegal on the phone asked if I needed emergency filing. I said, yes. Fault-based divorce motion for exclusive use of the home, temporary financial restraining orders, emergency hearing request, the whole package. Then I went through the house, gathered everything that belonged to Eloise, her clothes, her jewelry, her decorations, her books, everything. Packed it all into boxes, carried the boxes to the garage, stacked them neatly against the wall, took photos of everything for documentation. Did the same with Pearl's stuff. Her room became empty in about an hour. Clothes posters, makeup, school supplies, everything went into boxes. More photos. Called a locksmith for emergency service, needed all locks changed immediately. He said he'd be there in 45 minutes. While I waited, I went through Eloise's things more carefully. Found her laptop in the bedroom closet, powered it on. She'd left it logged in. Amateur hour. Her email was open, scrolled through, found exactly what I expected. Messages from Lance going back 4 months, started casual old friends reconnecting, then got personal, then got romantic, then got explicit. They'd been planning this, Eloise and Lance getting back together, pushing me out, making me look like the bad guy, so they could justify it. Screenshots, dozens of them, saved to a flash drive, uploaded to cloud storage, sent copies to my new email account. Evidence secured. Found text messages on her iPad. Same story. 4 months of planning. Her talking to Pearl about it. Pearl encouraging her. Both of them discussing how boring I was, how Lance was so much better, how they couldn't wait for me to be gone. Found financial records too. She'd been moving money from our joint account to a personal account I didn't know existed. Small amounts, 50 here, 100 there, added up to about 8,000 over 6 months. Theft, financial infidelity, whatever you want to call it. I documented everything. The locksmith showed up right on time, changed every lock, front door, back door, garage door, keypad, even the side gate. Gave me all new keys. Every old key was now worthless metal. Cost me $400 worth every penny. By midnight, I had a case file that would bury her in court. Printed copies, digital copies, everything organized and labeled. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. "You're making a huge mistake. Lance is going to help us get everything you own. You just signed your own death warrant. Had to be Pearl." Blocked the number. Another text from a different unknown number. "This is Eloise. Your behavior is abusive. Your behavior. Locking us out, taking my car, cancelling my phone. I'm documenting everything. You're going to regret this." I responded once. "Car's in my name. House is in my name. Phone plan is in my name. You have no legal claim to anything. Divorce papers being filed tomorrow morning. See you in court." Tried to sleep, couldn't. Brain was running calculations. How much money I'd been spending on them every month. How much I'd spent over the years. How much of my life I'd wasted on people who never respected me. My own daughter. My blood turned against me. The math was ugly, but also motivating. All that money was mine now. All that time was mine now. My life was mine now. Morning came. I showered, got dressed, went to the law office. The attorney listened to my story, looked through my evidence, nodded the whole time. "You've got everything we need. This is going to be straightforward. The hidden account and the documented affair give us strong grounds for fault-based filing. We'll request an emergency hearing for temporary orders, exclusive use of the marital residence financial restraints, and vehicle control. How fast can we move emergency hearings? Usually happen within 72 hours. Given the evidence of financial misconduct and her voluntary departure from the residence, the judge will likely rule in your favor on temporary orders." "What about Pearl?" "She's 18, my daughter." He made notes. "She's an adult. Legally, you have no ongoing financial obligations unless there's a specific support situation like college tuition that was agreed upon, but if you want to cut ties completely, you can. I want them to get nothing from me. 0. We can make that happen. The fault-based filing with adultery evidence puts you in a strong position. You'll get everything. Do it." Papers were filed that morning. Emergency hearing scheduled for Friday, 3 days away. I went back home, changed my direct deposit to a new account at a different bank, moved my savings to the same account, called the credit card companies, and cancelled the cards where Eloise was an authorized user. The joint account stayed open with minimal funds for now. My lawyer said to wait for court orders before making major changes there. The house was quiet, too quiet. 14 years of noise and chaos and constant demands. Now it was just me. Felt good. 24 hours passed, the car didn't come back. I contacted my insurance company, explained the situation, got legal advice from my attorney. He said, since I'd given written notice and she'd refused to return it, I could recover it myself, as long as I had proper documentation. I went to Lance's address that I'd pulled from property records online. The car was sitting in his driveway. I used my spare key, drove it home, called my attorney, immediately documented everything, notified the insurance company. It was recovered, removed Eloise from the policy. All legal, all documented. Friday morning court hearing. I showed up with my attorney, evidence binders, financial records, screenshots, photos, everything. Eloise showed up with Lance, no attorney, looking confused and angry. The judge reviewed the evidence, the hidden account, the affair, the voluntary departure, the vehicle situation, my sole ownership of the house, the financial records showing I'd paid for everything. Took 20 minutes. Motion for exclusive use of the marital residence is granted. Respondent is ordered to retrieve personal belongings under supervision within 48 hours. Temporary restraining orders on joint accounts approved pending final divorce decree. Vehicle registered in petitioner's name remains in petitioner's possession. Next hearing scheduled for final divorce proceedings in 60 days. Eloise's face went white. Lance looked furious, but there was nothing they could do. The judge had spoken. The house was mine, the car was mine, the accounts were frozen pending final divorce. Everything I'd built and paid for stayed with me. We walked out of the courthouse. Eloise was crying. Lance was yelling about getting a lawyer, about how this wasn't fair, about how I'd manipulated the system. My attorney looked at him. Your girlfriend committed adultery, hid money, and abandoned the marital home. The system worked exactly as intended. Have a good day. They tried the cop angle later that week. I was at home when someone knocked on my door, hard official. I looked through the peephole and saw 2 patrol officers standing on my porch. Opened the door. Can I help you? The older officer spoke. Wedding ring, looked tired. We received a domestic disturbance call. Your wife claims you locked her out of the house, took her car, and there was a physical altercation. We need to ask you some questions. Come in. They stepped inside, looked around. Everything was clean, organized. No signs of chaos or violence or whatever story Eloise had been selling. Your wife says you assaulted her, says you threatened her, says she's afraid to come back here. She's lying. I never touched her. I have security cameras. I have recordings of her threatening me. I have court orders backing up everything I did. Would you like to see? The officer's expression changed slightly. You have recordings. I pulled out my phone, played the voicemail Eloise had left 2 days ago, her screaming, threatening to destroy me, telling me I'd regret everything. Pearl's voice in the background saying they'd make sure I lost my job, that they'd tell everyone I was abusive. I also have this. I showed them the court order exclusive use of the marital residence dated 3 days ago, signed by a judge. The officer read it, looked at his partner, then back at me. Do you have the security footage? I pulled it up on my laptop, showed them the day I kicked them out. No physical contact, no violence, just me telling them to leave, them screaming and throwing things, me standing there calmly, them eventually walking out on their own. Then I showed them the property deed, my name, only the vehicle title. My name, only the bank statements showing I'd paid every bill for 14 years. The officers went through everything, asked questions, verified details, took notes. Finally, the older officer closed his notepad. Sir, you're within your rights here. Everything you did was legal. You own the property, you own the vehicle. There's no assault, no harassment from your end. The court order backs up your actions. We'll document this and note that the allegations appear unfounded. What about the threats she made? The false report? We'll include that in our report. If she continues making false allegations, you can pursue charges for filing a false report. Keep all your documentation. They left. I stood in my doorway and watched them drive away. My phone rang, unknown number. I answered, put it on speaker, started recording. You think you're so smart? Eloise's voice shaking with rage. You think you can just throw us out like garbage? That's my house too. I lived there. I have rights. Your name's not on the deed. You have 0 rights. The court agreed. And you're being recorded. You're going to regret this. I already called the police. I told them you assaulted me, that you threatened me, that I'm afraid for my life. They just left, saw all my evidence, told me you filed a false report. Keep going and you'll catch charges. She wasn't listening. You left me with nothing. No car, no phone, no money. That's abuse. That's domestic violence. They're going to arrest you. The cops just cleared me. The court gave me exclusive use. Everything I did was legal. And you threatening me right now is on record. Then I heard movement on her end. Muffled voices. Then Pearl's voice came through. You're a piece of garbage, you know that. Her voice was cold, calculated. You ruined everything. Mom's crying every day because of you. Lance says you're going to pay for what you did. Lance can say whatever he wants. You're on speaker being recorded. Shut up. Just shut up. We're going to make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. Your job, your friends, everyone. We're going to destroy you. Try it. See what happens. All of this is recorded. All of it goes to my attorney. Every threat, every lie. Keep going. Pearl's voice cracked. You should have just let Lance stay. Should have accepted that Mom deserves better. This is all your fault. I gave you both everything for years. You chose a con artist over me. Now you deal with the consequences. Silence. Then the call ended. I saved the recording, sent it to my attorney, added it to the evidence file. They kept calling from different numbers. I blocked everyone, kept records of everything. The final divorce hearing happened 60 days later. My attorney presented everything: the affair, the hidden money, the harassment, the false police report, the recorded threats. Eloise showed up with a public defender, looked rough, skinnier, older, broken. The judge wasn't sympathetic. Fault-based divorce granted. I kept the house, the car, my retirement accounts, my savings, everything. Eloise got nothing. No alimony, no property settlement, nothing. Pearl wasn't at the hearing. Didn't matter. She was an adult, legally separate from the divorce proceedings. It was over. I sold the house 6 months later. Too many bad memories. Bought a better place in a better neighborhood. Modern, updated, everything I wanted. No compromises, no input from anyone else, just mine. The promotion turned into another promotion. District manager became regional director. Bigger salary, bigger bonus, company stock. I was clearing 6 figures easily, more money than I'd ever made, all of it mine to keep. Life was good, better than good. A year after the divorce finalized, I heard through mutual acquaintances that Eloise was working 2 jobs: gas station clerk and overnight stocking at a big box store, making barely enough to rent a room in someone's house. No car, took the bus everywhere. Lost weight, looked older, broken. Pearl dropped out of community college, couldn't afford it. Working at a fast food place, living in a studio apartment, with 2 roommates she found on Craigslist. No social life, no friends, no money for anything extra, just surviving paycheck to paycheck. Lance's business collapsed 3 months after the divorce, over-leveraged investments, lawsuits from investors. The bank foreclosed on his house, repossessed his cars. He disappeared after that, changed his number, vanished, left Eloise and Pearl with nothing. I was leaving work on a Thursday evening late, about 7 o'clock. Parking lot was mostly empty. I walked to my truck and saw them standing there waiting. They looked rough. Eloise's hair was greasy, clothes worn. Pearl had dark circles under her eyes, both of them skinny, tired, desperate. I stopped walking, kept my distance. "What do you want?" Eloise stepped forward. "We're desperate. We have nothing. No money, no help, no options. Not my problem." Pearl spoke up. Voice weak, none of the attitude from before. "Please, we're barely surviving. Mom works 2 jobs and still can't afford rent. I'm working full-time and going to school. We're drowning. You made your choices. We were wrong," Eloise said, tears starting. "I was wrong. Lance was a mistake, a huge mistake. You were good to us. I threw that away. I know that now. Please, we're begging you. Begging won't change anything." "What do you want?" Pearl asked. "An apology. We're sorry. We're so sorry. You were right about everything. Lance turned out to be a fraud. We lost everything because of him. We were awful to you. We don't deserve your help, but we're asking anyway. Please." I looked at them, these 2 people who destroyed me, who mocked me, who chose a con artist over me, who laughed about how weak I was, who sat in Lance's house and celebrated their upgrade, who called the cops on me, now standing in a parking lot begging for scraps. "You told me I was boring. I said that I was just a paycheck, that I didn't matter, that Lance was twice the man I'd ever be. Remember that?" Eloise nodded, crying harder now. "I remember. I was horrible. I don't know what I was thinking. I threw away everything, the best thing in my life." "For what?" "For Lance. He was a con artist, a fraud. He left us with nothing. Again. I was so stupid." "You were." "Please," she sobbed. "I'm not asking for much. Just help us get on our feet. A loan, something, anything. I'll pay you back, I swear. With what money, I'll figure it out. I'll work harder. I'll do whatever it takes." Pearl stepped closer. "I know I said terrible things. I was a stupid kid. I thought Lance was going to be this amazing father figure, but he didn't care about me, never did. He just wanted Mom. And once she stopped being useful, he threw us both away. You were the one who actually showed up every day, every year. I didn't appreciate it then. I do now. Please, give us a chance to make it right." I stood there, let them beg, let them cry, let them feel exactly how powerless they made me feel. "No." Eloise's face crumbled. "Please. You had everything. A house, a car, financial stability, a man who worked himself to exhaustion to provide for you. and you threw it away for a fantasy for a guy who abandoned you once, and did it again the second you became inconvenient. That's not my fault. That's yours. I know. You told me I didn't matter. You let our daughter tell me she wished someone else was her father. You brought your ex-husband into my home, into my kitchen, made me feel like garbage in my own house. And when I kicked you out, you called the cops on me, tried to make me the villain, tried to destroy me. I was angry. I wasn't thinking. You were thinking. You knew exactly what you were doing. You just didn't think I'd actually stand up for myself. You thought I'd fold, thought I'd come crawling back, thought I was too weak to walk away. You're right. I underestimated you. You thought I was pathetic. Both of you did. Pearl wiped her face. We were wrong. You're not pathetic. You're stronger than both of us. We see that now. Too late. It's never too late, Eloise said. People can change. We have changed. We're different now, humbled. We understand what we lost. I laughed, cold sharp. You understand what you lost now that you have nothing. When you had everything, you didn't care. You only value me now because I'm your last option. That's not change. That's desperation. Please. Eloise was on the edge of breaking down completely. I love you. I still love you. I made a mistake, the worst mistake of my life. Don't make me pay for it forever. You don't love me. You love what I provided. There's a difference. That's not true. It is. You loved Lance until things went south. Now you love me because I'm the only one left who might help. That's not love, that's convenience. Things didn't just go south, Eloise said, voice breaking. Everything collapsed. Everything. His business failed. The investments he kept bragging about, the deals, the partnerships, all of it fell apart. Turns out he was over-leveraged, drowning in debt, using credit to fund his lifestyle. The house, the cars, the trips, none of it was real. I said nothing, just listened. His creditors started calling. She continued. Then the lawsuits came, investors he'd promised, returns to business partners he owed money. The bank foreclosed on the house, repossessed the cars, everything. He lost it all in 3 months. He kicked us out before everything collapsed, Eloise whispered. Told us we were dragging him down, that we were liabilities, that he needed to focus on saving himself. Said we were trash, that we'd always be trash, that no amount of help would ever make us good enough for his level. Then he changed his number and disappeared. Pearl tried again. What about me? I'm your daughter, your actual daughter. That has to count for something. You said you wished Lance was your father instead of me. You made your choice. But I'm still your daughter, your blood. Biology doesn't mean loyalty. You proved that. Please, we'll do anything. Whatever you want, we'll sign anything. We'll agree to anything. Just help us. Please. We're going to end up on the street. I pulled away. Then end up on the street, not my problem. You're really going to let us be homeless? You really chose a con artist over a man who gave you everything. So yeah, I'm really going to let you figure it out on your own. Pearl's voice cracked. She pushed me. Mom pushed me to say those things, to reject you, to choose Lance. She convinced me you were holding us back, that we deserved better. Eloise's head snapped toward her daughter. Pearl. Don't. No. He deserves to know. Pearl looked at me, tears streaming. Every time I started to feel guilty about how we treated you, she'd remind me about Lance's money, his house, his lifestyle. She'd say you were just average, that we were settling, that I deserved a real father figure, someone successful, someone impressive. That's not. Eloise started. It is. Pearl's voice was hollow. You coached me, rehearsed with me, told me exactly what to say to hurt him enough that he'd let us go without a fight. You said if I made him feel worthless as a father, he'd back off, stop trying to keep us, make it easier. I looked at Eloise. Her face was white, caught exposed. You used your own daughter as a weapon, I said, voice flat, dead calm. I thought I was doing what was best for us, Eloise whispered. I thought Lance was our chance at a better life. I was wrong, so wrong. Please, I'm sorry. I poisoned her against you. I made her say those things. It's my fault, all of it. Punish me, not her. I'm punishing both of you with indifference. Please, you didn't just leave me. You orchestrated it, weaponized. Your child turned her into a tool to destroy me. Then sat back and watched while she delivered the killing blow. That's not a mistake, that's calculated cruelty. Eloise dropped to her knees right there in the parking lot, full breakdown. Please, I'm begging you on my knees. Please help us. I'll do anything, anything. I looked down at her. This woman I spent 14 years with, who I trusted, who I loved, who destroyed me without hesitation, who turned our daughter into a weapon, who walked away smiling, now kneeling on concrete, begging for help from the man she threw away. Get up. Not until you agree to help. Then stay there. I walked around her, got in my truck, started the engine. Pearl ran to my window, banged on it. You can't just leave us like this. I rolled down the window slightly. Watch me. We'll die out here. Doubtful. You'll suffer. You'll struggle. You'll work 3 jobs like I did. You'll eat ramen for months. You'll learn what it actually costs to survive without someone carrying you. Maybe that'll teach you something. I hate you. Good makes this easier. We're desperate. So was I when you destroyed my life, when your daughter told me she wished I wasn't her father, when you brought your ex into my home and made me feel like nothing. Where was your mercy then? Eloise was still on her knees, sobbing broken. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, please. Don't do this. I looked at her one last time. No anger, no sadness, nothing. Just empty. You did this. You chose this. Now live with it. I rolled up the window, drove away, left them standing in the parking lot. Eloise still on her knees, Pearl crying. Both of them exactly where they put themselves. They made their choices. I made mine. That's how it works. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.